Yo, what up? Hey, everybody. On today's episode, we get to interview a good friend of mine, man, a guy that I met through the networking circuit out here in DFW. I believe he's on the Allen Chamber of Commerce. This kid is everywhere. Ali Alzurufi, 23 years old, owns Tidy Upped, a residential home cleaning company. This kid is impressive. He is ambitious, he's energetic, he is out there in the networking circles. There's a lot of business owners that know that networking is an important piece of marketing and growing your business, but not a lot of people do it right. There's a lot of going to these events and people who sell their service when really they should be selling themselves, because people do business with others that they know, like, and trust. And if you've been to any of these events and have ever been sold, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Nobody goes to a networking event to buy something. It just doesn't happen. If you're going to a networking event, it's because you are trying to put yourself out there. So I've been in business for 8 years, and when you see somebody who does it well, you are naturally going to gravitate towards that person. And that is Ali Alzurufi to me. So I thoroughly enjoyed our conversation. He's a really cool guy. We didn't get to finish the conversation, so we're gonna have to do this again, go back and get a little bit deeper into that networking piece. But today we got a really good sense of who he is, how he's been able to scale his business and basically take himself out of the day-to-day. He's still on that journey, hasn't officially done it completely yet. He's still very involved, but it's nice being young. It's nice being young and free, and so he has that capacity to be in the business as much as he is, which is really cool. So hope you enjoy, hope you can learn a little bit. I know I did. Enjoy.
This is Streetwise. I am your host, Matthew McReynolds, with my good friend here. Some call him the Prince of residential home cleaning. Others call him Ali Alzurufi. Hey, appreciate you for hopping on this, man. How's it going?
It's going good. Thanks for inviting me to get on this call. I appreciate it, Matthew.
Yeah, no doubt, man. I know you're busy. You are building a team over there, man. Yeah, building an empire in the home cleaning, home services space. Tell me about you. Tell us, you're a young guy, but start us at finishing up high school. And did you go to college? Did you immediately start the business? What got you to where you are right now?
Okay, so yeah, I'm 23 years old, and I started the company when I was 19. And so that would be like out of high school. And I didn't go, or I was in and out of college, but the business started taking off, and so I just focused on that, and all my education happened outside of school. And I noticed when I was in school, there were just too many distractions. And so I just focused on the business. I started again when I was 19, 23 now, and I started it from scratch. And so I started cleaning all the houses. I had to learn how to hire and train people. I had to learn how to manage and continue to grow the business. So fast forward, a few years later, we are the most reputable cleaning company in Allen. We have a 4.9 star rating. I have cleaners out right now who love what they're doing. They have a full-time job. And my current role, to answer your question, right now I'm the full-time manager. And so I have an admin who helps with like scheduling, payroll, inbound calls when I'm doing things like this. But then I handle like the management and the sales, and we're growing still. And so that will be something I'll fill in probably a year from now, have a manager on board too, or maybe 6 months. But yeah, that's kind of
that's
what
awesome,
my role is
man.
right now.
Yeah, so many people who are in business for themselves. It takes them years to build out a team and get out of the grind. How did you know you had the juice? How did you know that you could start a company and work for yourself? What was the initial thing that got you going?
Like, I think it comes natural to me. in high school, I tried to start other business ventures too. When I think when I was 17, I started like buying and reselling clothing. And then I also did, what else did I do? I worked for like a couple MLM companies too, got some good training from there. And so I've always been looking for that next thing. And, you know, I'm still young. So like, you know, when I started, I didn't have any kids or anything like that. Like you really had only two options, either, you know, spend your time just partying, doing nothing, or, you know, I mean, really like, it's kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah, you were always a man of that side hustle, huh?
Yeah, there's really no risk. You know, if you start young, you're, you know, living at home, you really have no risk. I mean, you can start a business and fail and it'll be fine, you know, and you still at the end of the day didn't even lose anything. And the time you spent, that time was valuable because now you learned, you know, you learned a few skills and things like that.
Who influenced you to build it?
The cleaning business?
Any business. Who influenced you to be an entrepreneur?
Great question. I think I'm sorry, it took me a while to think because I really don't have that one person that comes to mind. I was always picking up different books and then always watching different videos on YouTube, just different entrepreneurs doing different things. There wasn't really one like, you know, one person who I looked up to and tried to, you know, follow them exclusively as a role model. You know, I was just kind of picking up things from different people. But I do remember that when I wanted to start the cleaning business, before I did that, I did a Google search and I wanted to see what's an easy business to get into that requires zero capital. And one of them was cleaning business. And so I found that like on a Forbes magazine. And so I started Googling cleaning business and I just started seeing what other people were doing. But I don't even know those people, you know, those are just like quick YouTube videos. One guy, he also started when he was young and he scaled it to like 3 million. I was like, okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, no doubt. Cleaning service is great, man. It's a home service. It's a job that a lot of people don't want to do themselves, so they outsource it. But the market is often fragmented. So if you can come in and add some technology to it and some systems, you can build something special.
I think that really separated me because like right from the beginning, I had a website set up, and on my website at that time, if you were to go on it, it looked like we were, you know, we had staff and we were professional. Yeah. Like, you know, we've been around for a while and things like that. And so people would find me that way, but it was really just me. But so I got set up with a website.
Nice.
And then as far as the technology goes, our customers, so like, you know, even back then I started it, but they would get text messages whenever, you know, the cleaner's on the way. They'll get a text when the job is done. There's very good communication. They'll get appointment reminders. And it streamlined things for me, but also for customers, that set us apart. They're like, oh, I've never received a text message when the cleaner was on the way. You know, a lot of times they had to just wait around and then they would show up, or they would get a last minute call that, you know, they didn't show up. So that technology kind of set us apart.
Technology and some intentionality with the customer service. What have you noticed that putting in that extra step for the customer, how has that paid off for you in your growth as you scale?
It's helped us retain customers longer, and it's built a pretty good reputation. I think it's almost like it's necessary. You have to have it.
Oh, hey, what up? Hey, this episode is brought to you by Mosquito Joe. Let's take a listen. Why would somebody buy a Mosquito Joe franchise? Well, first, mosquito control is in high demand, especially in areas and climates where the weather is warmer and you're going to get a lot of wet, moisture, heavy rain, swampy areas. Mosquitoes are everywhere, so the service is in high demand. If it's above 50 degrees, mosquitoes are active. Next, Mosquito Joe has a proven business model. Mosquito Joe is a brand under Neighborly. And if you know of Neighborly, you know that they have around 30 home services brands. So from a franchisee perspective, you have a lot of support, and the Mosquito Joe team has been doing it for a long time. Next, it is a recurring service model. Like I said, if mosquitoes are active, you have customers, and mosquitoes are active when it's above 50 degrees. Here in the Dallas, the DFW area, we have about a 10-month season, which gives us around 13 or 14 treatments. The average yearly value of a customer could be anywhere from $850 to $2,000 every year, and these customers are loyal. Next, you can look at some pretty low overhead in comparison to other franchise opportunities that are out there, especially if you're looking for a service or brand concept that has a brick and mortar location. Your cash injection to start, your initial investment is going to be a lot higher. So some of these home service brands have a much lower level of entry. With Mosquito Joe, you have the franchise fee, you have initial marketing, you have a truck and labor and however you want to build your office for working capital. But with a truck and some blowers, you can get going with a pretty low entry cost. Lastly, there's flexibility. Now, I've been doing my Mosquito Joe business for 8 years now, and we've definitely gone from working in the business to more so working on the business. I know franchisees who are much bigger than me that work all day, every day in their business. And I know other franchisees that have really wonderful businesses that they still have a 9-to-5 job as well as operate their franchise. So there is opportunity and flexibility with how you want to build it. The fact that it's a seasonal business gives you plenty of opportunity throughout the year to get your vacation in, to spend time with your family. It's been a great experience for us. We've been a part of the Mosquito Joe family for going on 8 years now, and I learned about franchising and business ownership through this concept. It is great. The franchisees offer wonderful support. You get just as much, if not more, value from your fellow franchisees than you do any franchise system. So pick your brand wisely, do your validation, do your due diligence, and hopefully you can find value in this video, and we hope you have a great day. Now, back to the interview.
You can be amazing at the specific, but if you're not good at the humanity aspect of business, you're not going to last very long. Especially now. People can so easily put reviews online.
Right.
They can throw you in the mud. Have you ever had some issues that you had to place some damage control?
Yeah. So as you saw online, we have a great reputation. We do good work for our customers. And the reason for that one now is because we have a really thorough process. The only time issues come up is on the first time cleans. Other than that, issues don't really come up. Once customers have been with us for a while, they get maintenance cleanings. And so what we've done for first time cleans is, we'll talk on the phone. We'll set up a time to go out in person to confirm the quote and to see what's needing to be done. And then we assign a team leader who's responsible to ensure the job is done right, the customer's happy, they communicate with management. And then we even do a follow-up after the cleaning to see if the customer was satisfied. And we have a satisfaction guarantee. So all of that really helps weed out any complaints or bad reviews. And so that's how it is now. So I do have a bad review. I remember I got it from when I first started. And this is when I first started hiring employees and things like that. But we've since then improved. But there was a complaint that came in, and those people were awful anyways. It was a disgusting house. Like, we don't even do houses like that anymore. So it
wasn't your ideal customer, and you probably never should have hired them in the first place. So okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
Have you had to fire, now that you have the avatar for a bad customer? Have you fired customers or said no to people who have wanted your service?
I say no to. Yes. So one of them is like the condition of the home. So we have a certain scale. If it exceeds that scale, then we won't do it. And then also radius. If they're not in our area, we won't go out there anymore. And then, yeah, some people will ask for certain things that are just outside of our scope. So like at this point, we've systemized it. So it's the same service everybody gets. But some people will call, they don't want that service. You know, they want it their way. They want, you know, the cleaner to come. They want to manage the cleaner. So we're not like that. Those people will say no to. The people who hire us, they want to go with a trusted company that'll come in, get the job done. They don't want to, you know, they want that reassurance. So yeah.
What is something that most people don't know about your industry? What would surprise people? You know, for me, I'm in home services as well. It's also a recurring service. But what would catch me off guard that might be an unknown if I tried to start a cleaning business?
Damn, that's a good question. Let's see. Oh, it would be the numbers. So a lot of times people assume that the business is so profitable, and they're like, oh, you're in a lucrative business, and they're like, oh, you're charging $200 for a cleaning, and so it looks good on the outside, but realistically, if your business is operating smoothly, your profit is only 10%, and so you're paying out labor, which is about 55% if you're good. A lot of times your labor could be higher than that. If you're charging people the wrong price, the labor you pay out is higher than 55%. And then, you know, you have your overhead costs. So a lot of times people are like, oh, in cleaning business, you don't have any overhead, but you do. And then when you're growing and you're hiring people, aside from the labor costs, you do have overhead. And then when you have admin team or an office staff, you have more overhead that comes too. So yeah, you're kind of operating on a 10%, unless you're doing the cleaning yourself. If you're cleaning everything yourself, then yeah, your profit is like 90%.
But you're also very limited with how many houses you can do and how you can scale.
Right, exactly.
So how many teams do you have now? Are your people, are they W-2? Do you sub everything out? How do you structure your labor?
So W-2. So
nice.
Everyone who works with me is W-2. We don't sub anything out. So everyone who works with us is looking for a full-time job. They love working with our company. And right now we're still a small company, so I have 5 cleaners right now, and everybody's full-time. And so what that looks like is that's about, each person can do about 2 to 3 houses a day. And each person's kind of like their own crew, because we do solo cleaning, which means like on the maintenance cleanings, those are usually manageable with 1 person. But on the deep cleanings or like the bigger homes, we have a team. Like this past weekend, we cleaned a house that was 9,000 square feet. It's a huge mansion.
Okay.
Yeah, so we've actually been getting, recently we've been getting a lot of inquiries for homes that size. And I think moving forward, I think moving forward, we'll most likely be cleaning homes that are 5,000 square feet or bigger.
I've heard of companies, especially in painting, in projects, in building, where there's a minimum. So you're saying that let me ask you in the form of a question. Do you see yourself ever changing the structure of your business to where you only target that market, or do you still see value in having a range of service and how much size the house maybe? I know you're limiting geographically.
Right.
Is there anywhere else that you would limit as well?
That's a good question. So that's something I'm processing right now. Okay. Because we've had these inquiries with the bigger homes. Like those people who live in the bigger homes, they don't even think about cleaning their own house because they can't. The house
absolutely not.
It's so big. You can't even, you'd have to block out like 6 months on your calendar to be able.
Yeah, people don't have time for that. If they've got the money for it, they understand how to outsource things.
Right.
So I think it's important for us as business owners to be consistently curating and creating the ideal just for our staff and the people that we bring onto our team, but also the people that we're serving. You know, there's a lot of people out there that they are not my ideal customer. And just because they can pick up the phone and they can put a credit card on a file does not mean it's advantageous for me to provide service to them. And a lot of people do not etch that drift. Nah, cool, man.
I get you, yeah.
What's been something, I'm always curious, man, because we always like to put on the good faces, and I see you out there in the community. What's something that you did that was a mistake? Now, I'll preface the question with, as long as we live to fight another day, all of our failures are really learning opportunities. And so that's what I want to get out of the question, and that's why I ask it. But in the moment, maybe you thought it was a good idea, maybe you just weren't thinking, and things just happened. What was a mistake that you had to maybe shook you up a little bit?
Yeah, I really like these questions. Yeah, so the first thing that comes to mind is probably with employees.
How so?
Yeah, so when I first started, again, starting at 19, I had zero experience in management. And so I remember not knowing how to manage.
Yeah.
So not knowing how to manage was very tough. Like I would hire people and then they would obviously do something that's, doesn't correlate with the business model or the culture, and they would have like behavioral issues, but I didn't know how to confront it. And so I would let it keep on going, and because that continued to happen, it affected my schedule, it affected the profitability of the business, and then also reputation of the company.
Luckily, let's define that. What was the fear? What was the reason? What was the why that kept you from confronting? Was it, man, I need this person, I can't afford to not have them? Or was it like a deeper personality? Like, it's really hard for me to get in somebody's face.
So I think it was, for me, I think it was like, because I didn't have experience in it. So by starting the business, these confrontational things with employees or customers was my first time doing it. So these mistakes became like my learning opportunities. But I think what was like, why it didn't come naturally from the beginning, I think it was probably just limiting subconscious beliefs that
that's good.
Yeah, that I think it was fear that I was running, God, yeah, I don't even, yeah, that's kind of I think what it was. But now it's cool,
Yeah, well, you've gotten much better at it, and you kind of have to. If you're ever going to scale, you've got to let go of the vine, and you've got to make sure that you have the right people in seats. Stepping of the business in order to allow your team to succeed is key. You cannot scale if you don't do that.
Oh, hey. What's going on? I hope you're liking the conversation so far. I wanted to take a pause real quick and talk about a system that I've been working on. I'm calling it SULA, Step Up Leadership Accelerator. As business owners, we often struggle stepping up our leadership, stepping out of the way and building up a management team, a leadership team who can take over the business and really run the day-to-day. What we find though is that when we actually do it, the business runs better than it did when we were the one holding it all down. The system has 4 parts. It can be really difficult to be real. The first pillar is assessments. How well do you know yourself? How well do you know your strengths? How well do you know your weaknesses? What you're good at? What fills your cup? What pokes holes in your cup? There's a lot of assessments out there that you can use, from Enneagram to the Strengths Finder, the Colby assessment, DISC, Working Geniuses. Those are all great options that you as a business owner should be using to self-assess, but also assess the people on your team. If there's weaknesses in you, you have to be able to fill that with people on the team. If there's weaknesses on the team, how are you supposed to identify them if you haven't put your people through proper assessments? There's so many tools out there that you can use that will help you out. Step 2, accountability. Accountability is tough. A lot of us get into business ownership because we don't want to work for anybody else. I don't want to have a boss. I don't want to have anybody that tells me what I have to do and when I have to do it. In reality, if that's our mantra, we're delusional. As leaders, we're called to be servants to our team. It's my job as the leader of my team to make sure that the people that are working on my team for me, that are running my business, have every single tool that they need to be successful, not just in running the business, but in their personal lives. They need accountability. I need accountability. We all need accountability. How have you created systems and structures that will hold everyone on the team accountable? Do you have an accountability chart? It's a good place to start. Step 3, energy. How are you creating your energy? How are you protecting and maintaining your energy? What are you doing to create clarity breaks where you can step away from the business and look at it from a bird's eye view? A lot of us get caught up in the grind that we forget the importance of setting boundaries, knowing what to say no to, knowing what to say yes to, but also understanding ourselves and what actually fills my cup. If all I'm doing is filling in to other people and I'm not taking time to patch the holes in my cup, over time, my cup becomes more and more empty. And step 4, the most important, but you cannot do this without the first 3. If you are going to build up your leadership team, you have to know how to delegate. Delegate is step 4. How can you delegate and elevate? And I think a key way for us as business owners and leaders to learn how to do that is to seek mentorship and coaching. But it's all cyclical. It doesn't end there. You need a mentor, you need a coach, but you're also called to mentor and to coach other people. If you're not mentoring and coaching other people, you will never have the opportunity to delegate, to step up, and to step out of your business so other people can do it better than you. It's impossible. So those are the 4 steps to SULA, Step Up Leadership Accelerator. I will talk so much more about this in episodes to come, but I wanted to give some context because we're about to dive in with Ali and hear from him how he self-identifies with some of these metrics. All right, here we go.
So on a scale of 1 to 5, how would you grade yourself on assessments? Knowing yourself and knowing your people.
I don't know. Probably a 3, and it would just be for myself. So I don't have much of an office team, so I don't have assessments on. Like, I found that like in this industry to be common for once you've grown it, the cleaning company, and you have office staff, and they'll do assessments for the office staff. But I haven't done assessments on like the cleaning technicians, if that makes sense. So, but I'd probably be like at a 3.
Do you have anybody on the cleaning side that would be a leader or considered a lead or, senior or next one up if you needed it or when you need it?
Yes, actually. So I have opportunities for people to become team lead or trainers, and they do have like more involvement in the company and leadership opportunities.
That's awesome, man. You're so far ahead of so many people. So assessments, 3. Creating accountability for yourself and for your team, 1 to 5.
5. 5 being the best, right?
Yeah. 5's the best, baby. Yeah. Let's go.
Yes, I'd say 5. I definitely have good accountability for myself. I have a weekly call, and then I have a weekly coaching session. So I stay on track of everything. I'm tracking numbers. And then on my team side, because now I've gotten a lot better with management. And so, everybody's held accountable. Like we have our tardicy policy, absence policy. So everything is addressed immediately to ensure that, things keep running smoothly. So yeah, I think accountability is good.
Do they all operate independently, or do they work together on jobs?
Independently, but when we do bigger houses or deep cleans, then we pair them up. Or
do you have company vehicles? Do they drive their own?
They drive their own.
Okay. Do you have to compensate them for anything, mileage, gas, anything like that? How do you do that?
No, I don't have to, so I don't. But the way that we make up for it is we only service a certain radius, and so we make their drive route short.
Awesome.
So they're in the same area.
Short windshield time. That's huge.
Exactly.
That's amazing, man. These vehicles on my end are kicking my butt, man. I need to figure out to switch over and be like, dude. Cool, man. Energy. How do you protect your energy? You're out there, man. You're doing sales calls. You're doing estimates. You're managing people. It's still a lot on you. How are you generating energy for yourself through, getting amped, getting motivated, creating vision? But how do you protect it?
How do you protect it? I'd say 5 or 4.5. Yeah, probably 4.5.
How are you doing it? Because you are doing a lot of stuff.
Right, exactly. Yeah. One is health. I eat healthy. I don't put any toxins or junk food inside of me. So that helps me, flourish and keep, thriving.
What's your workout routine, man? I see you around town. You're looking pretty buff in those shirts. Now that you're not wearing a suit anymore.
It's just the shirt.
Okay.
But right now, actually, I just stopped my workout routine because I'm looking for a new gym. I was doing CrossFit for 2 months, but that was something.
I knew there was something there.
Yeah. So I try to stay active, Cleaning houses is a good way.
Yeah, no doubt. Do you do the cleaning as well?
Not anymore. Unless I have to. So this past weekend, we had an inquiry come in for that 9,000 square foot home I was talking about. And it was over the weekend. We're technically closed. We're Monday through Friday, but I didn't want to turn down business. So I spent my weekend cleaning that mansion. And then I had people who wanted more hours. They came and worked on the weekend too.
Are you paying guys hourly or percentage of, profit, percentage of the ticket?
So, okay, when they start out on training. So they're only getting paid hourly. But once they've completed their training portion, they do transition into a flat rate pay. It's not percentage, but it is a flat rate on that job. And the way that we base it is on the assigned amount of hours. So it's a 4 assigned hour house, and they get paid the flat rate. So if they finish in 4 hours and 5 minutes or 3 hours 55, they get that flat rate.
Now that dollar per hour rate doesn't really apply anymore, because if they're efficient and if they're doing what they're supposed to, theoretically they could be making 20 plus.
Exactly. They are
30 plus, whatever the ticket is. So yeah, it's cool. We've done the same where when we bring people in, we pay them at an hourly rate until we get them trained up. And then once they're on their own route, they get a percentage of whatever their route is. So, they've got a 15 route, $1,500 with, each house is on the same street. So they can fill up their blowers and then go hit the whole neighborhood at once. Their hourly range, quote unquote, is pretty dang good.
Yeah, right. That's a good business model. I like that you guys are doing that too.
Trying to get it right, man. We've been doing this for a while. Last, how have you delegated? How do you rate yourself on a delegation from 1 to 5?
I'd say, I'd also say 4.5 or 5. And because I'm always trying to find a way to delegate. And I recently hired the admin who's now helping with the scheduling and payroll. And just low-level activities that come up. I always try to find, like, you know, I ask myself first, like, do I have to do this? Can I find somebody to do it? So nice. I try to leverage whatever I can. Like sometimes I like, for just like personal tasks, I'll ask my brother if he could do it, you know. And I just focus on like the business or, you know, higher things.
There's a lot of literature on that, man. So Gino Wickman, again, the author of Traction, in his book EOS Life, talks about, I think he says, if you want to make six figures or more, don't do $25 an hour work. Source as much as you can. It sounds like you're in a stage of life where you can plug a lot of your energy and passions directly into the business. You're able to kind of structure yourself that way. And I think that's awesome, man. Rock it while you got it. Good stuff, man. Again, I want to respect your time. We're getting close to the end here. Where can people find you? I see you out.
Yeah.
You at Chamber of Commerce, social media. What's the best way that people can see you and your business? Give us a shout out.
Yeah, come find me on the block. No, I'm kidding.
Let's go. Who's out there?
So, you know, people can find me on. So our website is so the company name Tidy Upped, like keep your home tidy upped, UPPED. So that's our website, www.tidyupped.com. But I'm also personally on Facebook, which is my name, Ali Alzurufi. And usually, like on my Facebook or on my Instagram, it's the same name everywhere. I usually have Tidy Up linked somewhere. So that's where you find me, and then, you know, my website and things like that are linked. And I'm local here in Allen, and so like you said, you're always seeing me around. I'm always around Allen networking, and so if you're local in this area, you'd like to grab coffee, give me a call. I'd be happy, you know, to meet with you. And I imagine like you'll have my info LinkedIn or something.
Yeah. We'll put it. We'll put everything in the show notes once we figure out how to do that. But yeah, man, I wanted to, I wanted to get into that networking stuff because that is huge. There's so many business owners that do it poorly, and they suck at it, for lack of a better term. But
let's do this again. This was great.
Yeah, no doubt. Seeing you coming up, man, you're killing the game. Networking. I want to give you your roses as much as I can, dude. Keep doing what you're doing, and yeah, would love to do this again. We'll have a masterclass on networking because you can add a lot of there as well.
Awesome.
But anyway, that's a wrap with our interview with my guy Ali with Tidy Upped. Appreciate you for listening, and as always, stay streetwise.
Bye. See you. Thank you.